Okay, I don't know if any of my viewers here watch Titans, but Titans is one of the few DC TV shows that I actually watch. I don't watch any of the CW stuff. I have said many times over in some of my other DC videos that I have absolutely no interest in those worlds, and I actually just don't like them at all. Kind of wish they canceled every single one of them, but clearly they're popular. I used to watch Gotham. It was okay for a couple of seasons, but I also stopped watching that. I don't watch the Alfred show, Pennyworth. I've actually heard really good things about it. And I don't watch Doom Patrol. But I know Doom Patrol is in the same world as the Titans show. And see, this is the thing with DC is there's so many different shows that are not in the same continuation with one another, so I kind of find it hard to follow. And I find it hard to find a specific world that I want to get immersed in and that I find interest in, because I might like one show, but all the other four shows in that world, maybe I'm not a big fan of. Titans, when it came out, was of interest to me because, I mean, I came from the generation who grew up with the Teen Titans cartoon, and I like characters out of the Bat family, so like Robin and Nightwing and so on. I love the dynamic they have in the cartoon, so I was hoping to see if it could transition in TV show form. Now, this is not a culmination of every single season so much as it is just a discussion of the fact that I finished season 3 of Titans just a couple days ago. In America, you guys get the show much earlier than we do in Canada. I think it takes us maybe 4 to 6 months to finally get it on Netflix, whereas I think in America you guys get it immediately on HBO Max, or there's an actual DC Universe streaming service, I believe. You guys get it right away, whereas we unfortunately have to wait. I'm just gonna say this right now. Season 3, I think, is the weakest of all the seasons so far. And I think the reason for that is because they took such a pivotal story to Batman and the world of DC Comics and comics in general with the Red Hood and just completely botched it. Now, I know this already sounds like, oh, this isn't a bad look for Season 3. Season 3 has moments that is very fun and very exciting. But overall, I'd say the writing aspect to season 3 was clearly not there. Now, if you go on IMDb, go through every season and look at the reviews for each individual episode. You'll notice that season 1 of Titans roughly sits around 8 to an 8.8, somewhere around there. So overall, like, it was a really good season. When you look at season 2, that's where you notice it starts to get a little more sporadic and it drops off a bit. You'll have episodes that are a 9 out of 10, but then you'll have episodes that are like a 6.8 out of 10. Especially last season, season 2's season finale, which I think ended up getting an average review of a 5.1 out of 10 because it was a terrible finale. So I was wondering if maybe they'd be able to kind of bounce back from season 2. And I would argue that the first couple episodes of season 3 were in fact doing that. But as the season goes on, it just gets consecutively worse for me. Now, in saying that about season 3, I'm just going to quickly go through the reviews of each episode for this season. So episode 1 has an 8.1 out of 10, 2 has an 8.2 out of 10, 3 has a 9 out of 10, 4 has a 7.3 out of 10, so it drops down quite a bit, 5 goes to a 7.8, 6 is a 7.3, 7 is a 7.7, 8 is a 7.5, 9 is a 7.8, 10 is a 7.2, 11 is a 6.7, 12 is a 6.9, 13 is a 7.1. The show does begin to struggle after episode 3. And for people who do watch this show and maybe haven't gotten around to it, spoiler warning, but 3 finally gave us a death of a main character in Hawk. And I had a feeling they were going to kill him. I just felt like at this point in the show, it was too good to be true to constantly have characters survive. And I know you could say, well, Donna Troy died in season 2, which is one of the stupidest deaths I've ever seen. But also, we all knew she was going to be coming back to life. There was no question about it. Whereas with Hawk, I mean, he's dead. He's dead. He doesn't have special powers. Although there is an episode in season 3 that might change my mind and they might find a way to bring him back. Now, this show is weird in the sense that it still draws my attention, even though there are decisions in the show that I would never make or I just don't really like in general. But for some reason, there's a vibe the show has, and I think what it is I like the actors for each character, and that's why I keep watching it. I also like the darker tone. I think that is a big reason why I'm still invested into the show. The showrunners and creators, especially when it comes to Greg Berlanti and Jeff Johns, I am not a big fan of them at all. Greg Berlanti makes things for the CW. That is his niche. That is the CW, though. It is more teen type dramas. And I'm just surprised that DC still wants to go down that route of kind of a more dramatic type of DC type of content. I mean, hey, if it works, it works. What are you going to do? But then also Jeff Johns, fantastic animation work. He has been part of some of the biggest DC cartoons ever, like Justice League and Young Justice, and the list obviously goes on, but I think he struggles when it comes to adapting things into live action. I think he starts to miss the mark on what makes DC characters so special. And then once he starts transitioning into live action, the writing and the storytelling is just nowhere near as good as it is in comic book or animation form. And even with those big issues, those are big issues for me, I still find myself quite invested in Titans. They tried adapting the Red Hood story into the show where Joker kills Jason Todd and then comes back from the dead by Ra's al Ghul, and slowly Red Hood tries to destroy the crime in Gotham by being a little more anti-hero-ish, so killing criminals but fighting Batman at the same time, essentially saying to Batman, Gotham City is mine now. You are too old to get things done because you don't think outside the box. I'm here to put an end to the unlawful. And for anyone who watches the animation, we know the famous scene from one of the best DC cartoons ever, Under the Red Hood. Jason just gets really mad at Bruce for saying the one thing you still couldn't even do, not even for me, someone super close to you who died, and you still couldn't kill the man who killed me, which is the Joker. We all have to understand that Batman has this extreme issue with killing people because he knows if he kills, he'll never be able to come back. He'll start killing everyone, and he will turn into the villain that he doesn't want to be. But Bruce Wayne goes off in the show and apparently bludgeons Joker to death and splits his head open and kills him with the crowbar that he killed Jason with. I gotta say, I am a big defender on Batman for the Batman vs Superman film and the reason he kills there. And hey, if I was to make Batman related content, my Batman would never kill. He would not be a killer. Although I understand the route Zack Snyder took in Batman vs Superman, but in Titans, I feel like every single hero you come across is okay with the idea of killing. Hell, the Titans kill people on a regular basis in all 3 seasons. We all grew up with these ideas that heroes don't kill, even if they are criminals. But in the Titans show, it's like killing people is just a normal thing to do. And I'm not fully okay with these heroes just feeling like it's okay to kill. It feels like they have completely stripped morality from a group of superheroes who are supposed to have morals, and I think that really defeats the purpose of being a hero. You can come up with some really thought out stories and reasonings of heroes who have maybe resorted to killing. But with Titans, I just feel like it's a normal thing for heroes just to kill, and I'm not a big fan of that, and I don't know why they keep it that way. It feels like killing for them is just an everyday thing. Also, it seems like every single person knows the identity of superheroes, and that just doesn't make sense to me. It's okay from time to time when certain people know your identity, but it feels like entire cities know identities of heroes. And I think that is just a really weird attribute in this world as well. And speaking of weird, the season just had a lot of weird things going for it. First of all, I'll start with the one thing that wasn't weird was the introduction of Barbara Gordon. It was cool to finally get her introduced. The weird thing is she only has one leg, and I don't understand why. Like, maybe in this version she didn't get shot by Joker. Maybe she got her leg chopped off. I'm not exactly sure, but they never dive into that. The weird things are like Starfire having these weird hallucinations and mind controlling dreams. Finding out her sister has been in an underground laboratory for years. Having more dreams about her discovering her new powers when she eventually in the season loses her powers. But the dreams don't make any sort of sense when it comes to helping her regain new abilities. Really, really weird. Did not understand what was going on there. Not gonna go into detail because I just don't want to waste time with that, but if you watched it or are going to watch it, you'll know what I mean when I say it's weird. Scarecrow being the guy who's been the mastermind behind the whole Jason Todd situation. Not completely against it because Jonathan Crane would have the mastermind intelligence to possibly pull something off like that. I just didn't really love what he was trying to go for. Just, the usual and typical gassing of Gotham City and inducing everyone into fear. We've seen it over and over and over again. We don't need that played out for the 90th time. And the guy who played Jonathan Crane, Vincent Kartheiser, I gotta say, and not that it was his fault, it's probably the way the story was written. Throughout the whole show, we don't even see him wear a Scarecrow mask for maybe 15 seconds. In the very last episode, we see him use a variation of the Scarecrow mask, and it's cut off by his nose. So you only see it over his mouth with 2 gas tanks on it, and that was it. Lots of missed opportunities with Scarecrow in the show, and once again, not a huge fan of how he was the mastermind behind everything, even though I could understand how it would work, it just wasn't written properly. I also think the timeline for a lot of things in this season are absolutely awful. Jason Todd dies in the very first episode to Joker, and episode 2 is, I think, a day or 2 later, and he's already revived as Red Hood. A good 6 months or a year later would have been just fine. The return of Donna Troy and the addition of Tim Drake are completely forced. Donna Troy did not need to be in this season at all. And Tim Drake, I'll say this right now, is my favorite Robin, but he did not fully need to be in this season. And if he was, he only need to be kind of like an Easter egg. Maybe like, oh, he will eventually be in it. This is one of the main things I wanted to talk about. I gotta get this rant off my chest. Episode 9, entitled Souls. This episode is basically about the underworld, where Donna Troy is reunited with Hank, or Hawk, because he is now dead after episode 3, and also Tim Drake happens to be there as well. Tim Drake does have a very scary situation for himself in episode 8 where he gets shot and he is dying. Essentially what happens in this episode is, with all 3 of them in the underworld, they're trying to find a bridge that essentially, if they cross it, they will get a second chance at life. And I just thought the episode was really dumb, because it almost feels like there is absolutely no consequences for any of these characters. That if you literally die, you can come back to life whenever you like, as long as you cross this bridge freely. And Hank literally blew up and dissipated into the air. I just don't understand how it works. I really did not like the episode. I thought the soul-sucking demons they were fighting in the episode was really stupid too. The episode was weird and completely unnecessary because, like I said, Donna Troy and Tim Drake were not needed for this season. They were absolutely forced into the show. There is a scene in the show, Bruce Wayne is in this oceanside mansion, maybe somewhere in Europe, and he's home alone with this Wayne document. I'm not even exactly sure what it was, to be honest, and he was signing it. And that's all you saw of him from the beginning of the episode. And then right at the end of the episode, his mansion is on fire. And Bruce Wayne is laying unconscious in his mansion while the mansion burns. And Donna Troy was dead over in Paradise Island, her physical form at least. That's why when she crossed that bridge in this episode, she came back to life. So then all of a sudden, she leaves Paradise Island. You don't see any scenes of her leaving Paradise Island. She's just gone. And then she finds herself in Bruce Wayne's mansion, and she saves Bruce Wayne from burning down with his mansion. And then you get no goddamn explanation of where Bruce goes, where she took him. First of all, how did she know he was in that house? How did she get there so fast? How did Donna Troy know that Bruce was in danger? Unless I'm missing some pivotal information, that has gotta be one of the stupidest episodes I've ever seen in TV history. It was really, really bad. I'm surprised that's sitting at a 7.8 because that episode for me is a straight up like 0. It was a terrible episode. Couldn't stand it. Overall, I wanted to make this video because I wanted to know if any of you guys have watched Titans and what your feelings are on the show as a whole. Because I have got to say, season 1 was really good. Season 2 had its moments where it wasn't pretty at all, but overall I enjoyed it. Season 3 really failed, and like I said, it has some cool moments, but overall the season is not good. It's like a 4 or a 5 out of 10. I really didn't enjoy it, especially with Jason Todd being scared, so he has to take this weird fear reducing gas that Jonathan Crane helped him make, and the weird relationship that Nightwing and Jason have with one another. One minute Nightwing wants to kill Jason, then the next minute Jason wants to kill Nightwing, then after that Nightwing wants to make Jason a Titan again, Jason wants to be a Titan. It's all over the place, and it was just the story not good. Sorry, nope. I could keep ranting on about season 3 because there were a lot of bad things about it, but something about this show still keeps me invested. And I'm still kind of looking forward to season 4. I'm not gonna lie, I just really hope they pick it up from this season. In the comments below, if you have watched the show and season 3, let me know what you think of the show as a whole and what you think of this season in general. I don't know if I'm alone in this. Let me know if you thought season 3 is the worst so far. But anyways, everyone, that is gonna be it for this video. Like always, make sure to hit that like button and to subscribe to the channel, as it does really help me out a ton. And like always, I will talk to you all very soon.